All right.
You're live streaming. Very good.
Yeah. We're live and now we are recording. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another amazing. I don't even know if we should call these like episodes, right? Because they're not really a show. This is where the hard work comes in. This is where the what they call the pavement, the feet hit the pavement or the ground hit. It's something. It's something.
The rubber hits
Rubber
the
hits.
road.
There you go. There you go. Rubber hits the road. Trying to turn off my all these alerts. I'm super excited to be with you all again. To be doing this with my guy, Mr. Peter, MF billionaire. And this is probably one of the most important Zoom calls that I do all week. I do quite a bit of them. But this, I think, is the most important one because this one here is primarily dealing with the relationships. Listen, Peter and I was just talking about this, right? It was like, look, there's going to be a point in time where this is going to start wearing on you as an individual, as an investor, because there's, if you're coming from the single family space, I want to say last year, probably better than this year, there was a lot more activity that you can manage, right? Even if you were getting a bunch of no's, there was still a lot more of that you can manage as opposed to yeses and et cetera. In the multifamily space, it's different, right? And I really want to sit here for just a few minutes so that everybody could truly understand that it's different, not because it's bad or anything like that, or not because you're not good enough or anything. It's different by design, okay? The way that they have this thing set up, they want it to be different so that they can eliminate how many people are able to freely come into this space, okay? The language has changed, right? We don't talk about comping multifamily deals. We talk about underwriting multifamily deals. There's different things that have to go into a play when you're dealing with multifamily, as it should, because it is not the same asset class. It's a whole different structure, but it does not mean that you can't participate. And so in order for you to do so, this is probably one of the only ones, the only part of the industry where you have to go all in. Now, what do I mean by going all in? Do I mean that, hey, you know what? Whatever you're currently doing for your occupation or your living or anything like that, just, quit tomorrow and all that. No, it's not what I mean. Because first and foremost, if you're looking to get into multifamily, you must know what everybody else knows in multifamily. Multifamily is about building wealth. Okay, it is not short-term money. It is not money we're about to make right now or even in the next 6 months. In fact, you could go a year without making any money on your multifamily purchase. You and your investors. Okay, so you gotta make sure that you come in with the right mindset of understanding this is going to take work, but it is worth it. And with the when I say it's going to take work, I want to make sure that you understand time is also part of that. It's going to take work. As far as work, I mean consistency. You're going to have to be consistent. You cannot be looking to talk to brokers and you say, okay, I'm going to talk to brokers. I mean, listen, I'll be honest, guys. If on Mondays at 2 p.m., the only time you're talking to brokers, you are fooling yourself. You're not going to get anything accomplished. Okay. What we do with you on Monday is to help you do that same thing over the course of the week. And I'm not saying you have to do it every day, but at least try to do it more than just the time that you have here. We're only on here for about an hour. Okay. So I want to make sure that everybody's understanding and getting those key points across because that's important. The mindset part of this is extremely important if you're going to succeed. All right. Now, the other aspect of it, you guys already know. It's about connecting. right? And I'm gonna start, as always, changing my name. I see some people already beat me to it today. I appreciate that. And make sure you put your information in. So, Karen, I don't have your information. I don't know where you're at. I don't know how to get in contact with you. I don't know where you're from. I have no idea what's going on, right? Even in the chat is looking hella dry right now. There's no connection that's taking place. Come on, people, let's wake up. Let's get this show on the road.
It's Monday, post Super Bowl.
Monday,
Everybody's
Monday.
sleeping.
It's Money Monday. We got to get this going. So Virginia, Richard, Olu, you got to change them. Ed, you know the game. Now, see, the thing with Ed is he's probably underwriting a deal right now, right? That's probably what's happening. He's probably got us in the background and he's underwriting a deal. But you got to change that information, all right? And you got to do what Ms. Simmons just did right there. Put in your contact information. When you post in the chat, but it has to be 3 things that you post in the chat. All right, so Chris, I want you to post in the chat. I want you to put your name. I want you to put where you're located. This is what you're gonna put in the chat. You're gonna put it all in one text. So write it in like a Google Doc or in your notes. And then every time you go into any Zoom, I just want you to copy and paste that into the Zoom. All right, and it's these 3 key things. First, how to get in contact with you. So put your name, email, phone number. If you want somebody to send you carrier pigeon, make sure you put the directions and instructions for the carrier pigeon to reach you. Okay, if you have a deal in my market, I want to make sure you have every point of access to me. If you got to find out, call my mama. If you got a deal, call my mom. She will get a hold of me if you can't get a hold of me. All right, so you want to put your contact information. The second thing you want to do is you want to put what your superpower is. What are you good at? He's a closer. So he should be putting that in there. I'm a closer. This is what I'm good at. Ed is a great thinker. He's great with the numbers. He's an underwriter. He would put in the chat, I'm an underwriter. All right. You guys have to put those things in there so people know why should they reach out to you. What's the things that you're great at that I suck at that I can reach out? So if I'm not a good closer, I can be calling Chris and say, hey, Chris, can you help me out with this deal? Right? And then the last thing is you have to be, and this is something I want to normalize, we have to be better at making sure that we always ask. Too many of us are in this space trying to be the greatest go-giver that ever lived. And I absolutely love that. But you also have to make sure that you also are participating in the process. And it's bigger than just, oh, well, I don't really want anything back. No. Hear me out. If Jennifer is always giving and giving and giving, and she never asks, the problem is now is Jennifer is essentially being selfish. That's crazy to think about it, right? Everybody's like, what? How is somebody who's always giving being selfish? I will prove it to you. If Jennifer is always giving, and she never asks, she is never allowing the opportunity for the people that are around her or the people that she meets to be able to give what they want to give to be able to help Jennifer. So guys, girls, please stop being selfish. Ask what you're looking for. My guy Chris puts in there, looking to network and squad up with a team that's actively working in multifamily. Perfect. It's a great ask. So now I know what Chris is good at. I know how to get in contact with Chris. And I also know what he's looking for. This is how perfect relationships are made. Okay. The only thing better than that is an arranged marriage. And we don't really do those anymore. Well, I don't know. It depends on where you live. But anyway, I think you guys get the point. Peter, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fine. Just trying to help somebody get in here it's telling. Did anybody need a passport to get in today?
I don't think so. Karen, you shaking your head? Is that yes? You needed one?
No password for me. It came right on with your link that you sent on the email.
All right, I'm getting
clicked
those, so
join,
that's
and it
good.
came through.
I'll try to follow up with this person, see what's going on, and send them a
Karen, how did you
link
join,
directly.
Karen?
I got an email and then I clicked on the link and it asked me to sign up for Zoom, and I've done that before, and it's a dead end. So then I when it asked me to sign on, I chose Google and then I was immediately in.
Huh. It's interesting. Okay. Thank you for that feedback. We'll try to figure out
Okay.
exactly what's going on.
Yeah, so that is one, you do have to have a Zoom account. Doesn't have to be a pay, it can be a free account. And you have to log in with the email address that you set that account up with. I've had that issue before. So maybe that's what this person's running into. I don't know.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think Chris just was saying something, the same thing, very similar. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Before we get started, I want to see, does anyone here have had recent conversations with a broker and they wanted to get some knowledge on if they got stuck or if they reached out to a broker and then the broker reached back and then now they're like, okay, now what do we do? Kind of in the standing still mode. Or is there anyone that has reached out to a broker and even gone through the whole concept? There's Virginia, hello. Have gone through the whole spec of getting all the details and now they're ready to get back in contact with a broker and they can't get a hold of him or her, right? It's like they just disappeared off the face of the earth. What do we do next? Is there anyone going through any broker related issues when it comes to getting a deal? All right, so Ms. Simmons, I'm gonna have you come to the front. Who else?
Hi.
Who is having some issues?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It was pretty much what you just verbalized. I had a broker. Sorry, I was working out. But I have a broker that I have been working with off and on. She provided me info in the beginning on a deal that I am actively working. Then she said she had an off-market deal. She sent me the NDA, signed that, sent me some preliminary info because she said it was so early, there was no OM and no whisper. And now she's like MIA again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm calling her, emailing and texting, but I think she got a little offended too initially because she went MIA on another deal. And I called one of the other brokers listed on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And, they gave me some info and then told me to reach back out to her. And now she's doing it again.
Okay. So you've already done the first step, which is reaching out to the other network, right? Reaching out to whether it's, somebody else in the office or whatever. So that's perfect. The other thing I would do, and this is why the relationships is important. This is why this group is important, the ecosystem, which I didn't even touch on, but we will. This is why that's important, because what you can do is you can have one of these other individuals that's in the group and you can say, hey, call this person, see if you can get in contact with them and see if you can get any leeway on this deal. Pretend like you're brand new, you don't know nothing about the deal. And then just be like, hey, I just wanted to, see if this is available, what's going on with it, boom, boom, boom. Maybe that's how you got to work the deal, right? It's like I've had deals where certain people, for whatever the reason, did not like the fact that I was a guy. They just did not want to do business with me because I'm a guy. And I didn't cry about it. I didn't let nobody, tell me any less. I got one of my lady friends to make the call and we continued to do business. And it worked. Now, at the end of it, do I think that they were upset that I still got the deal and they didn't want to sell to a guy? I don't know. Never asked them. I don't really care either, right? At the end of the day, my goal is to provide value. And sometimes you got to provide value through other means in order to make it happen. So I would try going with that route. Maybe it's something like that, or maybe it's just she's just not on top of her game. The number one rule is no matter how the other person may be feeling or whatever it is, you still follow up. Okay. Right? So if it's something where you just got to set, alarm on your phone every week, call this person, that's what you do. When I call, send a text message, call from different numbers. And maybe you do call the other broker and be like, hey, I'm just calling, did did John get fired? Because I've really been trying to get a hold of him for this particular deal, and you know, my investors are ready to go, and we can't get a hold of him. Do you know what happened to him? I pray he didn't get hit by a car. Just anything that's kind of make it. I just like I would do stuff like I would see something that happened on the news. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I was just calling. I saw that there was an earthquake in Hawaii, and I figured John must be in Hawaii because he hasn't been able to return any of my calls. So I was just trying to see if he's okay, and do you know if anything's going on? He can be like, what? No, it's not Hawaii. I'm looking at John right here, right? Like I want it to be over the top so it doesn't come off like, okay, yeah, I just leave a message for him and we'll get it to him. No, like
Okay.
over the top. Hey, I was riding my bike this morning and I saw 2 squirrels that got ran over by a car, and it just made me think of John, and I was like, oh my God, I wonder if John's okay. So I'll just call him. Do you know if he's good? Right?
Okay.
And I'm being funny, but I stand out. If there was
Yeah.
5 people that called, and I'm the 6th person that called, telling them a story about 2 squirrels that got ran over, it made me think of John. I promise you, I'm gonna get somebody's gonna want to bring that up to John.
Yeah.
Right?
They'll remember you.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So try that out and see what happens.
All right. Thank you.
Give us some feedback on that.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, anybody else? Now I'm gonna say something. There should be a lot more people telling me they're having problems with brokers. Even my daughter is upset right now, right? You hear her yelling in the background, even though she's yelling at Siri. We're talking about something different. So there should be more people having problems with brokers. If you are not having problem with brokers, then that tells me something else about the activity, and I want to find what's going on. So let's see who else has had a problem with brokers. Reaching out to them, getting connection. I want to be able to get some feedback so we can see how we can help. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Aldo, what's up, bro? Peter, let me know if you end up getting somebody real quick before we kind of deep dive. But what I'm going to do, since this is a real focus group, I want to actually reach out to everyone. So Jason, we'll start with you. Are you able to unmute?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
All right, awesome. Let's do this. So we're going to spotlight you, my guy. And Jason, so how long have you been calling for multifamily deals? And what type of marketing are you doing?
So this is actually my first time joining your calls, and we recently just started our group. So there's 4 of us. Most of us have a background of, having single family portfolio. So, we came together to kind of like pursue multifamily. We are narrowing down our markets right now into 3 main markets. We are still kind of like in the phase where like, how do we actually reach out to brokers in those markets and kind of introduce ourselves when, we don't have a track record as a main GP yet. So that's kind of where we are at. I don't know if you have any advice in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, congratulations. That's awesome. Are you here with your 3 other partners, or is it just you?
No, just me. All of us
Okay.
still have our W-2.
Okay, got you. So the first, I think you guys are heading in the right directions, right? You're exposing yourself to the different steps that you're going to need in order to be able to push things forward, right? So this probably be a good segue for the ecosystem. And so one of the things that you want to make sure that you do is the connection part. And you heard me kind of talk about it a little bit before, is connecting with people. So all the people that you saw put their information in there, you definitely want to connect with those individuals because they have access to different things that you currently don't have access to, right? The first thing is they have access to experience, right? Some people have been already talking to brokers for as long as we've been doing it. This is episode 9. And so some people have been doing this for 8 straight weeks and been calling on the side and getting a tremendous amount of results. So those are the individuals you definitely want to connect with. In addition to that, there's individuals in here who are like just way beyond that level of new guy, right? Like Aldo, for example, he's one of those individuals that, you know, there's not too many questions that he doesn't know the answer to, or more importantly, he's not connected to someone who does know the answer. And that's the most important part of this game. So that's the first thing I would tell you. The second thing is here, what I'm sharing you now is the ecosystem. So, you know, we have the Sunday night activations, which happened last night. We're doing this Monday Zoom right now. Tomorrow night, we have the napkin underwriter Zoom with myself and Ed. You heard me mention Ed early on. And then on bi-weekly, we have this call on Wednesday. And we're actually not going to have it this Wednesday because we're having Victor and G doing advanced underwriting. So this week, you guys are going to get 2 underwriting systems. You're going to get the one that's going to be from us, where we do the napkin underwriting. When you first get a deal, this is what you do. And then you're going to take it to the advanced underwriting that Victor is doing, which is going to show you how and what to do afterwards. So I think those are the first steps. After that, I mean, I think I heard you say that you guys are like pinpointing on your location. I would really spend a lot of time there. I'm heavy on data, so I would try to gather some data. You can go to any of the large broker institutions. They also put out market trends to talk about multifamily and what areas they see fit that's going to be good for investing in 2023. Okay, a lot of the big, I call them talking heads, the big names, so Brad's, the Grants, the Carloses, like they also have Zoom calls that they have done that talk about here's where I think the market is heading in 2023, right? In fact, I actually want to see something. Let's see something. Let's see, multifamily market trend 2023. Okay, so if you want to, now obviously you want to be able to take it with a grain of salt, because not everything on the internet, on YouTube, you want to catch and just believe offhand. But if you wanted to, and I'll show you, let me share my screen so everybody can see it too. If you wanted to, you can actually just go to YouTube and type in multifamily market trend 2023. I've never heard of Great Capital before, so I don't know if that's good. But Bigger Pockets I have. So I would try looking at this video and kind of see their takes. They go Carlos, I would look at that one, right? I'm looking for things of people that I know or people who have like a lot of views, right? I'm more likely able to kind of take their understanding of their word. So you have Multifamily SoCal, they're pretty good. Multifamily University, I follow a lot of their stuff. Extremely insightful, and they've been in the game for a while. They definitely understand what they're doing and et cetera. But and yeah, this gentleman here, Neil, he's amazing. But like the further you go down, you know, you get kind of muddy waters and you get outdated stuff. Like I would look for the stuff that came out in the last 30 to 60 days for me to be able to know, like, okay, this is a video I want to pay attention to the data. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so drill down on data so that, oh yeah, Aldo, definitely you should be following these guys, man. Great, they give a lot of good insights. And I think that's important because too many people are looking to invest in all different types of places just because it's a good deal. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying when you are building a portfolio, would you rather, and it really just depends on how you want to invest, okay? If it's up to me, Peter, you got something? Okay. If it's up to me, I would much rather have majority of all of my investments in one particular state so that I can build my resources, build my team, build everything into one state, right? Now, and also it kind of depends on how you want to run your business. If you are, if you're not going to be the operator, then that kind of doesn't matter. You just need to be able to pick a market that you know your operator has good resources in. But to say like, oh yeah, I own 6,000 doors and they're in 12 different markets, that sounds chaotic. Without the right team, like you're traveling a lot, right? And
Yeah.
the whole point of getting into multifamily is to be able to create passive income, not make me work 4 times as harder than I was income, right? So
Right.
that's why I would say make sure you pick the right source for all of that. Sounds good?
Yep. Yeah, follow-up question. So if we are like new in that, MSA and we don't know anyone, we're still trying to build our team. How does that conversation go, like with brokers, for us to be taken kind of like seriously?
Yeah, lie the whole way through. No, just tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Hey, listen, my name is Jay. Or you do go by Jay or Jason?
Either one. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, my name is Jay. I am part of a team. I'm the new person on the team. And it's my job to reach out and talk to brokers on potential deals that myself and my partners are looking to buy. Right? Now, who is your partners? This is where you leverage. There are plenty of people in this chat right now who already own multifamily. Also, Multifamily Freedom Chasers is a group of individuals who own multifamily. And also, depending on who else you're affiliated with, you can leverage their experience. So for me, for example, I'm affiliated a lot with Pace Morby. So I do a lot of deals with Pace Morby in a single family space. And perfectly, we'll probably do something in multi-family space as well, right? It's just highly likely that that's going to take place. So for me, I can leverage his story and the deals that he's done because he's my partner. We haven't done a deal together yet, but we are partners. And so therefore I can say, hey, I'm new. I'm working with, a bunch of other investors. We have several other properties, and it's my job as a new guy to look at deals that I like to bring back to the team. So I was calling you to see if you had a minute to talk about X, Y, and Z deal. The reason why that's good is because you're going to have 2 types of people that are going to answer the phone. You'll have one individual who's going to say to you, oh my gosh, another newbie, and have the just utmost amount of disrespect that's waiting to give to you, which is fine. You don't want to deal with nobody like that, right? Get off the phone with that person. But then you'll also have somebody else who's going to be like, you know what? I like that, Jason. You're taking initiative. You're starting out on your own, and you know what? I'm going to help you out. Now you got a broker that's in your back pocket that's looking to help you, as opposed to trying to come off, hey, how you doing? My name is Jason, and I'm looking to purchase 16 properties by the end of the year, and then they say something to you like, well, what's your typical CapEx you're looking to spend on each property? And you're like, what's a CapEx, right? But you're trying to sound still smart, right? It doesn't make sense, right? And once you ruin that experience and that relationship with the broker, it's very hard to kind of get that back. So I mean like hard right? So that's how I would go about it. But you're on the right track. Like I said, this is the call that you want to be on. Hopefully we can get some broker calls in for you today, and you'll be able to kind of listen to how we go about doing things as well.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Heidi.
All right. So Karen has a question. She says, starting a contact broker now, what are best strategies for creating brokers lists? Just look them up on LoopNet or Critzy. So those are 2 good spots that I would tell you can start in. But there's also a ton more. I believe there was there used to be a sheet. It's probably in our older Zoom. that we did that actually had the links and everything to the different sites that you can go to, etc. I don't have the links, but I do have the names. So I'm going to drop it in the chat for you here. And it's basically for different, okay, Daryl's putting some in right now. Those are all places that sell commercial properties that would be good for you to look on their site and etc. to get broker information on deals. All right. So Karen, since you had that question, I want to have you come up for a quick second and see where are you and how you're doing on your journey so far, because you didn't raise your hand when you said, when I was asking people if you had any issues talking to brokers. So I'm taking that you're new.
Yeah, I'm very new, and looking. If I can't start, if I start this week, I'm not around next week, and so I was thinking that you need to have a follow-up schedule, right? So do you follow up within a week, or do you follow up 2 weeks later? I'm not sure how.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So here's my take on it. Okay, you want to run your business around your life. Your business is supposed to serve your life, right? It's the whole reason why we get into it. So if you said you're not around next week, you going on vacation?
Yeah, we're away for a couple weeks.
Okay, where are you headed? If you don't mind me asking.
Skiing to Beaver Creek.
Okay, what time we leaving? What time should I get to your house so we can go?
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So Saturday morning we won't be here because I'm definitely going skiing with Karen and the family. But so what I would do is I would use that as part of your when you're talking to the brokers. You don't think they go skiing? They go skiing, right? So say, hey, listen, I'm new. I'm trying to get in contact with you. I saw this particular deal. You go through your script. Say, hey, is there any way you can get back to me by Friday, the latest? Because starting Saturday, I'm going skiing with the family. I'll be gone for a couple of weeks, and I want to at least get a little bit of leeway. I can probably call you, but I don't know where I'm gonna be, right?
Okay.
That says a lot, because now, you're kind of like waltzing in here with your bag and just like, yeah, I'm ready to buy some properties, but also I have a life. So if you want me to do business with you, you need to get things moving when I need you to get things moving. Not, call me anytime, I'm available. That doesn't necessarily do well with people, right? Because if you try to get in contact with a broker, they're gonna tell you, I'm not available at this time, right? I know Ed has told me he's reached out to brokers before on particular deals that we're working on, and the broker's like, oh, I'm not available during the weekends. All right, and he's like, wow, that must be nice. We were like, yeah, I don't do any work on the weekends. You're gonna have to wait till Monday, right? Okay, looks like we got one.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself, Peter.
Doing well. Was calling you about Haven property down in Milledgeville. Okay, is that still available?
It is.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any specific questions, or you kind of just run through your high level points.
Yeah, I hadn't dug into it at all, to be honest, just because I don't like to spend a lot of time researching until I know it's actually still on the market. If you can give me the high level, that would be a great place to start.
Yeah, sure. So 37 units, 2006, 11 and 15 build, about 3 blocks from Georgia College and State University and a block from Georgia Military College. Those two schools combined for about 9,000 students. And then you're about a block from downtown Milledgeville, which is your local restaurant, shop, and bar corridor. So the students can, walk to class, restaurants, bars, all that, all within block. The deal is, as far as occupancy and pre-lease goes, 94% occupied, 75.6% pre-lease. Are you familiar with student cycles and those types of deals?
Yeah, so a little bit. I'll be honest. This is not my specialty, right? But I'm coming across more and more people that do student housing, and I'm definitely interested in it. That's not what we own currently. That has not been what I'm after. But two reasons for my call. One, to learn more about that. Number one. Number two, I assume well, maybe that's a bad assumption, but my guess is you come across other multifamily assets from time to time as well.
Yeah, I mean, to go on answer question number two, we deal mostly in the student space.
Okay.
I mean, I would say over the past 5 years, we've done maybe one or two conventional deals.
Gotcha.
But we've been in the student housing business since the early 2000s. All worked for big student housing development companies and started our shop in 2015. And so, know the space really well. We actually own about 1,800 beds throughout the Southeast. So we actually own the deal in Milledgeville that we sold this past January, December. But yeah, so we kind of live and breathe the space, so that's why we stick to brokering these types of deals.
I gotcha.
On your first question, as far as like student lease cycles and how they work. So when I say 94% occupied, meaning there's a signed lease from August 2022, so this past August into July 23, and then when it's at 75.6% pre-lease, meaning there's a signed lease, with the Kranecker and Tor that's also signed on 75% of the deal for next year. They're actually like way ahead of last year, and I'm thinking this time last year it was in the 45% range. So it's trending in closer and closer to being 100% pre-lease, and we're still pretty early.
Sure.
I would say there's a heavy amount of leasing that still happens from now until the end.
Right.
And still some during summer. But I would anticipate that you'll be 100% pre-lease by then.
Spencer.
Gotcha. So in this, like right now, you're at 94. Is it strictly student housing? Is there any chance that can be increased during this school year, or is that pretty much going to be stuck there until May?
Yeah, it's that not until May. It's really until July, because that's when the July 14th. I want to say.
Sure.
So yeah, your next rental growth opportunity is on this next season. They're anticipating 4% rental growth from 22-23, which is August 23 to July 23, to August 23 to July 24. So you're kind of like during those times, unless really you're kind of year over year you're set on your rates because these properties start, believe it or not, they start pre-leasing, like they start reaching out to their current residents in September, October to sign a lease for the following August. And
sure.
So you kind of set your rates, and the cool thing about this deal is they have tiered rates. So once they hit, they'll have 650. They'll be at 650 a bed on, let's just say, for their 2 bedrooms, and then once they hit that first tier, they'll go to the next tier, which is 665 a bed. I mean, I'm just kind of throwing out numbers, but
yeah,
that's kind of how the seller has done their leasing. Is once you hit a certain tier, you get a better discount for signing earlier, but as you fill up, the rates go up.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me the story on this one. I mean, why is it on the market? Why are they selling?
Yeah, so this is part of a portfolio that's on the market. The seller bought the deal 5-6 years ago, sold 453 beds. The original idea was to sell before the loan started amortizing. Every single one of these deals has debt with Fannie. And so when he bought them, they were on interest only. And so they said, hey, let's grow the rents and sell them in 3 to 4 years. Well, they've been through 3 different managers. They're on the 3rd now. And so they had, the previous manager really stunk them on the occupancy and pre-lease. Like they fired their leasing manager in the middle of the leasing season and didn't hire somebody new. And so as a portfolio, this deal was like 76% occupied last year, so August 21 to July 22. Yeah, like this deal was 85% occupied. But anyway, they hired a new manager July 21. The manager did a great job hiring good people in Milledgeville that understand the market really well. And He's got a good area manager over there. And so while they did stabilize these 4 properties, they also are really heavy. You know, they manage this deal and one other small apartment complex. When I say this deal, the portfolio is Milledgeville. And so they just don't have the economies or scale to take on their own expenses. Like, for example, the seller gets a bill of about $9,000, and then the accounting fee on an annual basis, bill back for the management software, which is about another $8,500 on an annual basis. They charge them for travel, and so we've got a couple. And also, I mean, biggest numbers, their payroll number, like for example, the total payroll for the 453 beds, which is all 4 properties, is about $220,000. Well, the seller is actually getting a bill $570,000 because he's paying for all the corporate overhead in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we've got a couple great managers. One owns a 400-bed deal on the market called the Bellamy. Their biggest book of business comes from third-party management. They manage about 5,000 beds throughout the Southeast. And then the other is a group out of Athens, Georgia, which is 50 miles from Milledgeville. They got 700 units in Athens and about 300 in Milledgeville. And so that's, you know, in both, I mean, on this deal, because it's only 1 property, instead of paying for payroll separately, you get like an all-inclusive 9% fee and not have to pay for payroll.
Okay. But if I'm hearing you right, there are other assets available, right?
That's right.
Yeah, wouldn't have to.
Out of the 4, there's 2 that are available. 2 are under contract, Prospect A and B.
Okay.
And then Campus Edge and Haven are still there.
And Campus Edge is where?
They're all in Milledgeville. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. So they are.
Campus Edge is a bigger deal. 34 units, 112 beds.
Okay. And tell me how many units Haven is again?
It's 37 units, 82 beds, but it's more 2 and 2 bedrooms. So whereas in Campus Edge, it's has a lot more 3s and 4s.
Okay.
So bed count's a lot higher on Campus Edge.
Gotcha. Fewer units, higher bed count. All right. Yeah, and I'm not used to think of it in those terms, right? But obviously with student housing, that's a big part of the deal. So in general, people that are buying these assets, what are they usually underwriting? What are they using for expenses for their underwriting?
I mean, it's really based off of 12, right? I mean, you have your, you know, your parent. I mean, based on our underwriting model, it's like, you know, we've taken the actual dollars that we're spending on repair and maintenance, you know, in this property, included in the rent, water and sewer, waste management, cable and internet. Those are all like, you know, hard expenses. And then they also, so the property bills back for electricity, but they, you know, they pay for the bill up front. So for example, say it's a 3-bedroom, bill's $150. Well, the seller pays for that bill and then bills back to $150.
Okay. Let me ask it another way. For one, so this particular property right now, what is the expense ratio? Do you have that figure handy?
Yeah, it's on next year's rent, it'd be 41%.
And
on this year's rent, 43%.
43 on the, okay. And
Because obviously the rents go up.
Yeah.
Ratio goes down.
Yeah. And is that sort of average, typical in the student housing space?
I mean, honestly, on a property this size, it's high.
Okay.
Like I mentioned, there's, you know, the seller's taking on some pretty high admin costs. I mean, based on the actual 12, like you took their payroll numbers and all their admin costs, probably more like 60% OPEX. But obviously the manager solves for that, right? So, you know, on this deal, would just be at that 9% fee, which includes your payroll, your admin, a lot of your admin outside of like eviction. So now it's, while I still think it's high, I mean, I think there's room for improvement. Living in the 35 to 42, 43% range, based on how good your manager is kind of where you see, especially because this is not like a 2019 product, right? It's a little bit older. So, as time passes, the ratio obviously.
Yeah, I think I saw it's isn't it three separate addresses with
That's right.
a little bit different vintage? One was built in 2015, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to understand in terms of student housing is, would you expect the expense ratios to be, I would expect expense ratios would be a little bit higher on student housing, just because you have, I mean, basically you're turning over the entire population. Not necessarily, obviously kids could stay there for all 4 years.
Right.
But it just seems like there's more management, you're renting by the room, not by the unit. Am I wrong in that estimation, or would you in general?
The only category that I would say would be maybe a little bit higher than the conventional model would be the turnover period. So, like I said, these leases expire July 14th.
Yeah.
And so typically like 35% of the tenants will renew, 35 to 40. And so you have to turn the remaining, 60 to 65%. And so, I will say one thing is, you have signed leases with a guarantor who's a parent, right, or guardian. And so they're not going to want their credit to be negatively impacted. And so, normal wear and tear, typically that's, if there's scratches on the wall, it's not something you can go back for, but like, if you got damaged furniture or, holes in the wall and like damage that's beyond normal wear and tear, then those are items that you can bill back for.
Gotcha. All right. Well, so.
But there's no really other buckets, I would say. Like, it's not like the marketing is a lot higher. G&A, I mean, if anything, when the average rent per bed is higher, you're typically have a more qualified tenant. So you don't really have, I don't even think like this property specifically, they didn't have any evictions all of last year or this year yet. And so their bad debt loss is pretty low. And so, the higher the rents go, the more, I would say like the more qualified tenant you have, and just like the less risk averse you are to, higher damage costs or eviction.
Right. Gotcha. And what's the guidance price on this?
5.85 million.
5.85. Okay. And is there any call for offer date?
Like I said, we have prospect A and B under contract. We have not set an official call for offer. We've got one group that's looking at Campus Edge and Haven that should be offering within the next couple of days. Here's the thing: the seller is holds a lot of value to a group that's going to be able to assume this loan.
Sure.
And so, I'm not saying you have to have. Seems like you guys have multifamily experience. So, that paired with a good student operator or manager,
Sure.
will be crucial on the loan assumption.
Yeah.
And so, the buyer would rather not take a full priced offer with someone who maybe has a really high net worth, but has he was just a merchant builder on residential homes and has no multi in his portfolio, right?
Understood. Sure.
It's just,
Yeah.
So I would say spend the time on it. I will say too, I think if we can get in the 5.4, 5.5 range, I think we probably have a deal. you know, so just kind of keep that number in mind too.
Okay. And gosh, I had, as you were talking, another question popped into my head and I completely forgot what I was going to ask you, but I've got, I assume, again, I haven't dug into the details here, but the T12 is online.
The T12 isn't online. Just the, if you sign, I don't know if you sign it to correct your LoopNet.
Correct, see.
Okay, yeah. So you can sign the CA and get the ELM. But if you want like the actual, you know, financials of the property, I would just have to.
I got you. Okay. Yeah. Can you go ahead and email that to me?
Yeah. Have you signed the CA yet?
So no, I don't think I have, unless it's something I just did on the website to get to the OM.
What
Or do you need a wet signature on something, or is that something I?
No. What's your first one?
Yeah, Peter. And last name is St. Martin. Is that something you could just email to me?
Okay, yeah. You're St. Martin. Yeah, looks like you're with Real Estate Solution Providers LLC. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I see you executed the CA 34 minutes ago. So I'll send you the details now.
Awesome. Oh yeah, so you've already, that's not the email I want, but that's fine. Send it to that email. I'll be on the lookout for it. That'll work.
Do you want me to use a different email?
No.
Peter St. Martin at Gmail.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just forward that to where I need it. That works. Yep.
Sounds good.
Um,
And then, yeah, I mean, if you can think of that other question, you know, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, and we'll go from there.
yeah, definitely. I'll put you in my database and hopefully, you know, just the last thing I'm planning in your mind is just keep me in mind for, you know, something that's outside of your bailiwick, but it's multifamily and you've got some off-market stuff. We're always looking.
Okay, great.
And
How many units do you guys have in your portfolio?
so right now, a total of about 85. Got another 138 under contract right now. But I work with a huge network of people that own hundreds and hundreds of doors. So, and I'm marketing, you know, I'm looking for deals all over the Southeast. So, some of the people I'm looking to partner with have 5,000 doors, you know, some of the people have 100 doors. So there's, I mean, tons of experience. Again, I don't have the student housing experience, but I know I'm going to find those people, and I won't even bother with this one unless I have somebody who's already, you know, has already done the student housing stuff. Because, like you said, we'll never qualify for the assumption if we don't have.
Yeah,
that.
and I don't necessarily, you know, I think having multi in your portfolio is fine because we have like a good student. We have a couple good student managers manage the deal, so I wouldn't discourage you from the, you know, I was more speaking on an investor with a really high net worth that has no multi.
Sure, understood.
Like that's going to be an automatic no. But if you have multi, and again, we have the management solution, then I think we'll be fine. So.
Awesome. And I remember the other question, the interest only period, is the interest only period already expired?
Yes, it has.
Okay, so we're already amortizing.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And when is it a 30-year loan?
It's amortizing over 30 years, but it matures August 29.
August 29. Okay. So all right. So we got 6 years left.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Yeah, that's that's the other thing about these assumables, right? Some of them sound great, but if there's only 24 months left, that's
Yeah, you've got some time. And the only other thing I was going to say that I forgot to mention, the seller is furnishing of the bed at no cost to the buyer for fall 2023 and getting $100 a month rent premium. And so other 64 beds remain unfurnished. You know, so that's a great way to add value without having to do any heavy lifting. But all of the 3 of the other properties are all fully furnished and are running for and have, I wouldn't say significantly higher rents because there's, you know, still somewhat of a management deficiency. So I think that like there's a lot of opportunity to grow rents even more, but that is, you know, just keep that in mind that adding furniture is a great way to add value on this deal.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Let's,
Okay. Sounds good. I'm going to send you the details in a minute.
perfect. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
All right, Skip. Have a good one.
At this point, I don't know how many other curse words you want us to put in your name, Peter. I don't know, like how you want us to continue to explicitly
stop.
express how good your calls are, but
You know, it's funny when we're on the Zoom, it's like I'm trying to balance. Do I just want to make this short and sweet and get off the phone? But this guy was offering so much information, I didn't want to stop him. You know, I wanted to I mean, I hardly had to ask anything. And he was just giving me all kinds of data. And so anyway, I don't know. You know, I guess
here, with that being said, right? This is for anybody that was listening. At any point in time, did the broker ask Peter if he was new? No, right? Karen, you can unmute because we were talking before. I know you're new, right, Karen? So did
Yes.
at any point in time that you feel like at any moment now this is all gonna go to hell because the broker gonna say, hey, are you new? Or a lot of times, like I think that was Jason, right? You got a whole new team, you're starting off from brand new, and your fear is like, well, who you with? And you're like, oh, well, it's me and 3 other guys. We took off of work and now we're calling people, right? They never ask that question because of, one, the confidence that you have when you're on the phone. The good thing about Peter is he didn't even have to have, when you have the confidence, you don't even need to do most of the talking.
Right.
Right? Like Peter was asking just regular questions. It wasn't like he was asking something that was like really complex or just we have to get into the weeds of things. But he was asking questions that made him seem like he was genuinely interested in 2 things. 1, the property, and 2, the broker. He let the broker talk. He gained relationship with the broker. The deal doesn't even matter. Because and this is the thing, especially if you're new, I want you to understand, calling these brokers, especially off of a website, is not about the deal.
No.
It is not. If you call and you're like, okay, Mark Allen, I'm calling you about this 132 unit in Florida, and then the deal is end up sold or under contract already, now you're like, oh, well, all right, well, thanks, Mark, and you hang up. You just missed out on another $10 million deal that he would have sent to you just because you guys had a really good conversation, right? Yeah. There's 2 things I want to add real quick. The one that's going to take place in the future and one that took place in the past. Brokers will always test you. I'm going to tell you exactly when this broker figured or in his mind mentally checked if Peter was a newbie or not. Does anybody else know exactly when it happened? If you know exactly when it happened, let me see.
Was it when he asked for the assets under management, or?
Okay, Daryl says asset under management. Chris is saying when he asked for the unit count. Anybody else? I'm gonna see if you can get it. And now Peter is really, really good at this. He's done it several times before, and it's always worked. He's batting 10 for 10 at this point. All right, here's the answer. Peter is calling about a deal that is listed online. Without a shadow of a doubt, the broker always says, Well, did you look at the information on the website? The stuff is on the website. And Peter always says, yeah, I really don't even get into that until I kind of call and get to know the person and see if the deal is even worth taking a look at. That right there is the reason why Peter opens up the door for a 25, 30-minute conversation. Most people would have said, oh, it's on the website? Okay, I'll just look at it on the website and then I'll call you back. Brokers do that on purpose. Listen, if you just wanted me to get the information from the website, you would not have put your phone number. You would have had an email for me to send you my offer. You put your phone number so that I can call you so we can be able to have conversation based off of questions or whatever, right? So it's how you handle, you know how they say your first impression? Peter handled that as if he's looking at deals all day long, and he is, which is why he could care less. Oh yeah, it's in the thing. All right, that's fine. I'll take a look at that. Since I have you, let me just ask you a couple of questions. You got a couple of minutes? I want to see if this is worth sending us over to my underwriter. Right? Now, what he's going to do in the future is the most important part. The first part was what I just said. In the future is the most important part. Because we don't really know if this is actually a deal. And quite honestly, who cares? This is broker talk. The goal of this is talking to a broker. Is it to talk to a broker for the deal or to talk to the broker for the relationship? Which one you think it is? Is it the deal or the relationship?
The relationship.
The relationship.
Definitely relationship, because deals will come, they'll always be there.
Listen, I'll give you guys, Ulu got it. I'll give you guys a hint, clue. 90% of the deals that we're calling on these websites, half of the whole world has already saw it. They're not on these websites because they're the sexiest deal popping. They're on this website because everybody else who would normally have brought this deal have passed on it. And so now they have no choice but to put it on a website where anyone who does not know how to spell loop-de-loop accidentally falls on LoopNet, and now they're looking through these papers. They're looking through these deals. All right, so it's not because these deals are like, oh, this is the best. I don't care how they present it. I don't care who's the mark has sent. I've spoken to a guy who's done over 300 million deals as far as value. He was representing a deal that was on market. And even though he's this like great, amazing broker, your deal still sucks, which is why it hasn't been able to sell for over a year. So I could care less about the background. We're not judging you, the deal itself. So if the deal can make, if we can make the deal work, perfect, right? We can do creative. We can assume the loan. Like, we're skilled at that. We can negotiate really, really good. Perfect. But the most important part is the relationship. So the most important thing that Peter's going to do now is he's going to put this gentleman on some sort of follow-up, right? This is how I do it. When I get done speaking to somebody, I wait maybe 5 minutes and I send them a text message. And I say, hey, Peter, it was great talking to you. Super glad I got a chance to connect. Absolutely love how well versed you are on the property. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can make do some business together in the future. Here's my email. And this is my direct cell. If you ever need anything, any way that I can help you, just let me know. I would love to make a connection for you that makes you tons of money. All right, later. Right? I made him feel special about the call. And then I led with value. I said, hey, I want to work together, but I'm leading with value. Let me know if you need something. I can make a connection, whatever it is. At the end of the day, I just want you to make more money. Right? The next thing that I would do is I would also send an email. Now, one might wonder, why send an email if you just sent a text? Well, you guys won't be able to see my phone because I have a thing on here, my background. Well, maybe you can. Can you see my phone? Okay, maybe you can. So if you can see my phone, no, okay, oh, right there.
That works, yeah.
All right, do you see that number there on my text message? It went away.
Went away.
It was 15,000 text messages, 15,443. That is how much text message that's in the database of my cell phone. So there's a strong possibility that you may text me and I didn't see it, at least not at the time that you sent it, right? So you have to assume that Eddie can't be the only busy one in the world. Maybe this broker might be just as busy. So send a text and also send an email. You can say the same thing that's in the text. You can literally copy and paste, put it in an email, say, hey, I thought through a text message, just wanted to make sure you got my message. Great talking to you, bye. And then the third step of following up is you set a time to follow up. So Peter probably has a methodology of doing that. You can set up your own. I do it where it depends on if there's like a deal on the table or not. Or maybe like what I do in the single family space, I would have what's called Cash Buyer Fridays. Okay, Cash Buyer Fridays means every Friday I would go visit a cash buyer. So in the morning from the hours of 8 to 10, I would call all my cash buyers that I have or I want a relationship with. And I'll say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? What are you looking for? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then from 10 all the way to 3, I would go visit a local cash buyer's property or go visit their office, go buy them lunch or just hang out. Why? I'm building the relationship. I'm learning stuff from them. There's things that they've taught me about a house that I would have never learned talking to them over the phone. It's because I was in the house at the same time it was happening, right? Do the same thing in the broker space. Pick a day and call it broker day, right? Where you spend an hour and you're just calling your brokers that you've built relationship with. Hey, Tom, this is Karen, just reaching out, wanted to see how's things going. How's the week? How's the kids? How's the whatever? You know, it's like you're eavesdropping. You're trying to hear if they got kids in the background. They got a dog barking in the background. If they got a bird that it's a parrot and it keeps repeating everything that he says. Find out, like, this is where you're drawing more about the person. And you're just saying, hey, I'm just calling, making sure we touch base. Do you have anything? Do you need anything? Okay, great, man. Listen, I know you're super, super busy, so I'm not going to take up your time. Right? Find out ways where how find if they like coffee. Send them a QR code where they can go get a cup of coffee for free on you from Starbucks or whoever to wear. Okay. Does it matter if that person ever brings you a deal? No. Because if you're dealing with good brokers, they all know each other. So if Karen is talking to Peter and Peter just loves Karen, he just can't find her a deal that works for what she wants, but he loves her to death. She doesn't send him drinks, food, tickets to a play for his kids. He's like, I've never even done business with this lady. And this lady is just she's just a good person. I'm glad I've met her. And I only met her over the phone. Now, Jason is Peter's friend and he has a deal. And he says to him like, hey, I got this deal I'm trying to sell. Nobody in my brokerage has anybody. We're going to put it on the market, but we kind of want to wait. Do you know anyone? Peter's going to say, I have the right person for that deal. This is how you get on someone's good side, I call it. This is how you get on these lists without having the experience, right? Without having the name, right? If somebody was to compare Grant Cardone's name to Eddie Charger's name in the multifamily space, most people know Grant Cardone. So if somebody says, hey, I got a deal, Grant Cardone wants to take a look at it. Oh, perfect, no problem. Send it to Grant. Because Grant has proven, whether you've done business with him or not, he's proven that he can close a deal. So that's why they're sending him the deal. Do they know Grant? No. Do they like Grant? Who knows, right? But if this person knows Karen, likes Karen, it doesn't matter if he has closed the deal with Karen or not, he will send Karen the deal. Because Karen makes him or her feel good about just knowing who Karen is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of use that as an example because I know a lot of you guys on here are new, and I don't want you having these like limiting mindsets of me being new, slowing down your process. it's possibly the best thing since sliced bread because no one knows you, right? You have a fresh slate. And so you can create the type of relationship that you want to be able to come from, right? Now, I'm gonna let Peter speak. I want to add one last thing back to what I was saying earlier. This is why it's super important, guys and girls, to put in the chat what you're looking for. Because Peter just got off the phone with a broker who has a student housing deal. And if you're in the student housing, all Peter had to do was come over here to the chat, scroll up. Okay, Vanna, nope, she's not in student housing. Okay, let me see who here likes student housing. And he can find a person who wants a student housing. Boom, now he's sending you a deal. That's how this works. Peter, what you got?
Yeah, so I just wanted to, you made a good point, and I want to make sure everybody on here knows that I'm brand new, right? I don't have a years of experience.
Peter, when you say brand new, you mean like you're 5 years in, right? Like that's what you said?
Yeah, right.
You're 2 years in?
I'm 3 months in. I got
When
started.
you say 3 months, did you mispronounce 30 years experience?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just trying to make sure everybody's clear and understand you.
I mean, I didn't start even researching multifamily until September of last year. So, yeah, I'm confident. Yeah, I can speak the language, but I still have plenty to learn. I'm sure there's more questions and more terms I need to understand. But when you spend time on these Zooms and you learn from these people that have spent tens of thousands of dollars to be mentored, there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of value here. And it's about confidence, right? I haven't closed personally. I haven't closed my first multifamily deal, but that guy has no clue about that. And it's not like some people struggle with that sometimes. And I have a lot of partners, right? I have tons of partners that own assets. So I'm part of teams. I'm part of groups that own assets. I know that if I like this deal, I can close this deal. I can find somebody who wants to partner and wants to close this deal. And that's the attitude you have to have when you're talking to these brokers that, and they're going to ask you questions that you don't know the answer to, and you're going to get, a little bit flustered. But the only way to get over that is to make the calls, to pick up the phone, have these conversations. They're not all going to go well, and that's okay. And the best way to do that is to do it on your own and practice, and then come back next Monday and tell us, like this, Eddie started off, what problems are you having? Bring those problems to the call. Let's talk through it. Let's get you over that hurdle. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, folks. This is why we're doing this. We're doing this not for me. I don't need an audience to make these calls, right? I'm doing the calls anyway. It's to get you guys to make the calls. And I know we don't have a whole lot of time left here this week. It's already 3:18. I'm not going to bother to dial anymore for the call, because I don't want to get on another 30-minute call and have this recording go 2 hours. But if anybody, I don't know if anybody's dialing in the background. If you are, great. Make sure you wave your hand. Let us know you got somebody. But anybody who wants to make a couple of calls, that's awesome. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody realizes I don't have years of experience doing it. It doesn't take years of experience just to realize these are just people, right? We're just calling them to make a friend, right? Build that relationship, and ask open-ended questions and get them talking. And many of them will share all kinds of information without you asking any questions at all. We have a script, right? We have a script that we've shared with the group. If anybody wants a copy of that script and you don't have it yet, throw your email in the chat and say, please send me the script, I'm happy to do that. But I never follow the script, right? I'll peek at it every once in a while, maybe just to jog my memory. But at the end of the day, what's the story? Why is this person selling? That usually gets me all the information I need. And then the details just kind of fall out of that, right? Assumable loan. Okay, great. Let's, do I need to spend any time on the assumable loan there? I want to know if the interest only period is expired. I want to know when the loan matures. That's really all I need to know. Now, to formulate an offer, we need to get some details, but I don't need to get those details on the phone. I just need to build that relationship on the phone. And my goal is to get them to talk as much as possible. Say as little as possible, get them to talk as much as possible. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. I'd love to, in the last few minutes we have, if you guys can put in the chat, number one, is this helpful to you? Is it helpful to you to listen to that call? Number two, what specifically was useful? Is it encouraging you? Is it helping you to feel confident to pick up the phone? What can we do to help you feel more confident? Do I need to spend an hour with you off the Zoom making calls? Just let us know what you need. That's what we're here for. We want to get more people making these calls, because I can't call all these brokers. I can't get to them all. There's too many of them. We need help. We need other people making these calls as well. And we're playing. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. I remember seeing a Zoom one time of somebody who was teaching everybody the script, which is great. You want to have a script to start with, right? That's going to give you confidence that, hey, if I get stuck, I can look at the script and I can think of an intelligent question to ask. That's great. Just make it bullet points. Keep the calls conversational. But one of the person was giving advice of, get in, you want the rent roll, you want the T12, ask for the rent roll and the T12, get that sent to you and get off the phone. Okay, that's okay advice if your goal is to get a lead that's a potential deal and you just want to get as many T12s and rent rolls as you can. But the reality is, I think your goal should be a relationship with that person, right? This person, his name is Skip, is going to have a lot better chance of remembering me because we had a 20, 30-minute conversation. And if I just said, hey, here's my email address, send me the T12 and the rent roll, he'll never remember me, right? So anyway, we're playing the long game. This is not, maybe we identify a deal. Maybe this is a deal. I don't know yet, right? We have to look. We have to look at the numbers, see if it passes the napkin. Do we want to go any further? But I want the next deal, right? I want that off-market deal from him. I want that off-market that's not student housing, right? I want to be the first one he thinks of. Hey, I talked to a guy who specializes in this. Let me call him, right? Because he's so focused in his student housing world. He's a perfect guy for me to stay. Hey, don't forget about me. I'll send, like Eddie was saying, I'm going to follow. That's a great idea, Eddie. I haven't been doing that. Follow up immediately with a text and add value. I'm going to add that to the process, but I'm also going to stay. He's somebody I will contact no less than 2 weeks, maybe not every week, but I'll definitely hit him next week. And then I'll probably scale back maybe 2 weeks in a row. And then I'll scale back to every 2 or 3 weeks. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share. If anybody else is dialing out there in the background, cool, keep dialing. Is there anybody who wants to has a broker they want to try to call today so we can walk you through it? Let us know. Raise your hand if that's the case.
So I'll answer Chris' question really fast. Do you leave voicemail or text them if they don't answer initially? Chris, in fact, it's a smart group. Chris, where you at? Okay, Chris, can you unmute?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, so question for you. Are you talking about after you finish speaking to them already, or are you talking about when you initially get in contact? or trying to get in contact?
Like initially when you're trying to get in contact, you know, if you double or triple dial and they don't answer, you know, just leave a message or text them, hey, I was reaching out about this property.
So I don't, if I triple dial, I don't leave a message, because then it gives away my cheat code, right? Because next time, if they hear my message, next time I call and I triple dial, they're like, oh, that's just that one guy. He's gonna leave a message, right? So if I triple dial, I don't leave a message. Maybe I'll text. Like I normally, like I'd rather you reach out to me because you see that I called you as opposed to the texting, but that's just me. I normally don't do that until like after we've had the first initial contact. But Peter, Daryl, like what do you guys, how do you guys normally do it?
So I'll tell you, I've been leaving messages, Eddie, and I'm getting called back. Now I would say, you know, it's not something I've tracked, right? What percentage are calling me back? I would say it's well under 50%, probably under 25%. But if you're leaving enough messages, you're definitely getting some callback. And I've had, like last week, I got, on Tuesday, I got 2 calls from people that I had left messages for during our Zoom on Monday. So that's pretty darn good. Now I probably left, I don't know how many messages, right? 5 or 6, but still, I probably, you know, more than 25%, less than 50, but more than 25%. So I think it's worth leaving a message. I definitely like the double dial. It all depends, right? If I've lined up 15 numbers to call, then I'll probably double dial them all. And on the second one, I leave a message. I mean, what's the perfect sauce? There isn't a perfect sauce, right?
No.
You just got to keep doing it. You got to keep calling. You got to follow up. That's the money's in the follow up. I think that's true in basically anything. You got to keep following up. In fact, I've got several that I have called on Monday that I have to go back through my Monday notes and follow up with some of these people that have kind of fallen through the cracks on me. So
good. That's good. Good stuff. One of the things I want to answer real quick about what we're talking about, right? What Peter is going in depth about, what I've been talking about. It's not about the deal, it's about the relationship. I just want to make sure I'm clear when I say relationship. Like I feel like I don't need to say this. Maybe I don't need to say it for you, this group. This is for someone who's going to watch this video later. Okay. When we talk about building a relationship, please don't call and be like, so like Peter, like what do you like to do for fun? You know what I mean? Like outside of real estate, like what are you into? That's not the relationship that's going to get you deals or anything like that, right? The relationship we're talking about is a professional one that is between you and another person, and the one main thing you have in common is multifamily. He's looking to sell something, you're prospectively looking to buy something. Along the time, as you guys continue to talk, you start to unpeel certain things about that person to dive in deeper into the relationship. If you come off trying to like, hey, I'm just trying to get to know you a little bit, whatever like that, most brokers are going to hang up in your face. They're going to run away from that because to them, that's a waste of time. Because they didn't get into, think about it from this point of view. They became brokers to not make friends, but to make money. So the best way to help them get what they want is to have conversations about how we can help them make money. They in turn like that and now want to deal with an individual who wants to help them make money more and more, which is how the relationships continue to build. So if I'm continuing to give you value and you're getting the value that you need, and you want to find out how many dogs do I own? Yeah, I own 12 and 6 cats. Sure, what about it, right? It's much easier to have it that way. So always lead with the business end of things and sprinkle some of the personal, the personality, the, just trying to see who are you, you know what I mean, type of stuff. I just want to make that clear. So when you guys are thinking, okay, think about a relationship building, you don't go too far off and you ruin your chance for working with somebody who just is really, really busy and wants to stay focused on what they're doing.
All right, so we got to get everybody to turn their cameras on.
Yeah,
Time to
yeah.
take-
You know what time it
Time
is?
time to take a picture. Come on, folks.
All right, let's do it. So at
We got a
this time,
small
we take
group
our,
here today too. We need to
take
get
our
everybody
cameras,
on.
turn them on. If you got a bonnet on and stuff like that, that's okay. Don't
Cameras
worry about it.
on, phones
All right.
up.
We got to wait for everybody. And if you don't turn it on, unfortunately, we are into like shaming and bullying and stuff like that. So we just, all right. So let's see it.
Okay.
All right, I'm starting to see some.
There we
Carmen, I don't
go.
know if you're just literally sitting in the dark or if that's just your background at this point. But let's do it. All right. On the count of 3, hold up your phones. Let's take a
Phones up.
picture. 1, 2, 3. Awesome, awesome. There you go. Make sure you post it. Why should you post this picture? I need one person to tell me why should they post that picture.
So people know
you're
that you're
involved.
busy and involved and
There you go.
participating.
So people know that so people know that you're involved, but so people also know that you're consistent. That's the most important thing, right? If you come ask me for $1 million and I look and I see that you consistently been putting in work, I'm asking, what's this? Oh, every week I talk to brokers. Oh, okay. As opposed to you ask me for $1 million and I have no idea who you are. I go to your Instagram or your Facebook. It's a bunch of cats, right? It's just you and your grandma and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay, I'm not lending you $1 million, right? Okay, we gotta do another one. We gotta do another one because I see Ellis came on late, but she wants to get the picture. So I got you. I'm not gonna let you be by yourself on the phone. So we're gonna do it one more time.
I wanted to know, when you say take a picture of it, do you take a picture of yourself or you take a picture of everybody? And how do you take a picture of everybody?
So I'm on the computer. That's a good point. So I'm on the computer. So if you're on the computer, you can do the view to view everyone.
Oh, okay.
If you're on your phone, what you're gonna have to do is, take a screenshot. So if you have an iPhone, you can just like do the whole screenshot thing, and then it'll just be you. But then you can just tag Multi-Freedom Chasers. You can tag us. I'll repost you if you tag me, right? And then people are like, oh man, who's this person? And that's how it grows. All right, so we'll do it one more time. Here we go. On the count of Trasos. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Perfect. All right.
Awesome.
That being said, Peter, take us out, man.
That's it. That's all I got for this week, guys. We appreciate you being here. A little bit smaller crowd than we've had. Come on back next week. Bring your friends. We got to promote this a little bit better, obviously, but I know it's tough during the day. A lot of people working W-2s, but that's okay. A couple new people this week. Jason, thanks for joining us. A lot of familiar faces. Jen, the closer, always good to see you. Irish Kevin, have you been here before, or is this your first time?
Yeah, what's up, guys? I pop in every so often, but the problem with me is I can't remember, like CRS.
That's why you got to put an alarm in your phone, man.
Oh, but I get so many damn alarms. It's like, what is that for? So I need an alarm and a note for my alarm.
All right, well, we're going to keep an eye out for you because we need some of that Boston accent in here. I love that.
No,
The
reason why I like to pop in is I like you guys' attitude. You and Eddie really, do a great service for the people that are here, and I don't see that too often, so I kind of chime in when I can. I want to see what you guys are up to. And I'm in a few syndication deals right now, so my main thing is raising capital. So not necessarily doing underwriting and cold calling, but raising capital is my thing. So
all right, so here's the thing, Irish. 2 things. First, I appreciate you, Irish Kevin, for those kind words. And I'm glad you actually brought that up. We forgot to talk about this. So starting next week, we're going to charge $1,000 for every session that you guys come on with us. So just keep that in mind.
Speaking of raising capital.
Yeah, right. But here's the other thing. So Kev, there are 3 important parts of multifamily in my honest opinion. Okay. The highest of all of them is raising capital. my dog agrees, apparently. The ability to raise capital is, I think, one of the highest things that you can, because you can take that into any, we can raise capital for multifamily, we can raise it for a business venture, we can raise for anything, okay? The next person, in my opinion, who's more important, not even the underwriters. It's not the underwriter, in my opinion. The next person is the individual who has the relationships. So it would be the person. So for example, who wins from broker talks is the person who has more brokers know who they are than they know all the brokers. Right? So if every single broker that I call says, oh, you in Atlanta, you must know Daryl. I'm like, golly, Daryl knows everybody. Like, this is a problem, right? Why is that important? Because that means every time a broker has a deal, Daryl's one of the first person that they think of, which means Daryl's either never gonna run out of deals, and Kevin, if you're raising capital, that means you're never gonna run out of opportunities to be in a deal. Because if I know you raise capital, as soon as I get a deal, and I'm like, okay, this pencils out, we need money. Who's that guy again? Oh, Irish Kevin, I know, yeah. And now, Kevin, you're sitting on the couch trying to figure out how you set up all these alarms. Somebody gives you a call and say, hey, I got a deal for you, bro. Can you raise the capital? And you're like, yeah, why not? I wasn't doing anything, right? So that's how you want it. But the problem is, Kev, I don't know how to get in contact with you. You're using your screen name here, it just says Irish Kevin. So unless I'm pretty positive, if I were to go to Google right now and type in Irish Kevin,
It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be hard to get a hold of you.
You're gonna get the bar down on Duval Street in Key West. That's who you're gonna get.
You see what I'm saying? So it's the wrong bald guy. So what I want you to do is first change your screen name next time, right? Put where you're at and put your phone number, but also in the chat, bro. Like, you have to put that down. Hey, I'm Irish Kevin. Here's where I'm located. Here's what I do. I'm the money guy, and here's what I'm looking for. Right? So now we can add value to you as well.
I'm still learning how to try to get a QR code on my picture screen.
That's perfect. But here's my thing about the QR code. Like, I have my QR code right there. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea how many people actually scan that thing.
I think it depends on how big it is. Like, you can barely see it, but
yeah, you can only see it if I do it in like this.
I do it on, I put it on speaker,
if I put it on, I call this big person view. If I put it on big person view, you can see it, right? But the point is this: if you are going to advertise I don't know, you're okay. What you have a favorite sports team or anything?
do I?
Yeah.
Well, of course, being from Boston, it's like the
listen,
big.
I didn't want to assume. He might have married into it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to just assume.
Being from Boston, it's like a big sports town, of course, so.
Okay, so here's a question for you. If you're going to, you're like, you know what? I'm going to rep Boston crazy because it's, I don't know, it's Boston week or whatever, right? Do you buy one small pin and you just tag the pin on you and it says, I love Boston on your shirt that's really, really small? Or do you say, I'm going to get a shirt with a matching hat, I'm going to wear green and white, and I'm going to have these new sneakers that are made by Nike, but they custom just for Boston. And and that's underneath. I'm also going to have a jersey of Boston Celtics, but the back has patches from the football team, the hockey team, like you're going all out, right? People get tattoos all over their body repping their favorite sports. I'm pretty sure Boston, right? So what I'm saying is, don't just worry about the QR code, because what if for example, if I'm on my phone and you have a QR code, guess what? I can't scan it. If I have an iPhone, I can't scan the QR code because I'm on my phone. So you have to put your information in a place where people can be able to get it, but don't do it just one. Do the QR code. Put your screen name, contact information. Put your number in the chat. Jump on here and say exactly what you did. Hey, I'm Irish Kevin. If you don't know, I'm actually from Boston. and I Raise Capital. Make people aware of what you do and who you are, where you are, and what you're looking for, and you will never run out of opportunities. If you don't do that, you'll be the most active secret agent multifamily person, and you will make $0. Because not because people don't know that you're in multifamily, people won't remember you're in multifamily when the time comes.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. I just
All
got
right.
on late, so I was just kind of catching the last few comments by what you guys were talking about. Like,
Awesome.
yeah,
All right. I'm looking forward to it, man. I see you next week. Guys, remember again, tomorrow night, we are doing our napkin underwriting. It's gonna be 8 p.m. You'll get the email and everything as well. If not, please make sure you are following us. We post it all the time. My information is in the chat. With that being said, everybody, peace. I love you. Stay charged up.
Thank you.
Peace, guys.
See you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.